Hello and welcome to my video on how to pass the Magic Years interview. More than likely you're here because you've applied already and you want to know what you have to do in order to pass the interview, or you're thinking of applying and want to know what getting this job entails. If you're thinking of applying, please feel free to use my referral link, which I will link in the comments below, and also feel free to send me an email. I'm more than happy to answer any question or hear any concern you have about the job. Now, this video is going to be great for you because we're going to take you step by step through the interview process. We're going to go slide by slide, and I'm going to give you some tips that the Magic Years interview team looks for during the process. So stay tuned, and if you follow everything I say, you're going to pass. Let's begin. Alright, let's start with the basics. This is the basic criteria you need to meet in order to pass the Magic Years interview. First off, you need a background. Second off, you need decent lighting. Third, you need a decent webcam. 4, you need headphones. 5, you need props. And the last thing is you need a hardwired Ethernet connection. I made a video previously going into each of these in greater detail, which I'll link below. But now, let's talk briefly about each one. So now let's start with your background. You need some sort of backdrop or background while you teach. Now, unlike other companies, Magic Years wants you to be the focus, not your background. So you want to keep it clean, crisp, and make it simple. Just have it appealing to the eye and not distracting. You want the students to look at you, not your background. Now let's talk about lighting. Don't be scared about this. Nobody's expecting you to have a movie quality lighting setup for teaching online ESL. Just ensure there's no shadows on your face and you and your background is lighted. Something else you could do is, if you have a camera, you can play with the settings and play with the brightness, and it usually helps out a lot. Alright, now let's talk about your camera. You just need to have an HD camera. Most people have it standard inside their laptop. This isn't really a big deal for most people. So really, don't worry too much about this one. Just see if you can find like a settings thing. Maybe you can change the brightness, the contrast, and make yourself look better. It's worth a shot. Now let's talk about headphones. You need a pair of headphones. It doesn't have to be an expensive pair. It can be $10, but you need a pair of headphones and you need a microphone attached. You need to be able to hear the students and they need to be able to hear you clearly. Don't use earbuds. Don't use your laptop's microphone port and speaker port. It's not good. So get a pair of headphones, which you probably have around the house somewhere anyway. Now let's talk about props. This is pretty simple. You need 2 or more for your interview. Make sure they're relevant to the lesson and make sure they're educational. That's it. Now let's talk about your internet connection. You need a hardwired internet connection. You need an Ethernet cord that goes from your modem or router to your computer. If you use a laptop, you can get one of those USB adapters to allow you to plug in the Ethernet cord. They're pretty cheap from Amazon, so get one. That's pretty much it. Now I'm going to tell you how to pass. This is what the Magic Years team looks for and grades you upon when you do your interview. They want you to vary your speaking tones. They want to see expressive body language. They want to see rich facial expressions. They don't want you to drag your voice. They want to see you doing some total physical response or TPR. They want to see your guidance of the student, and they want to see your correction making. Now we're going to go into more detail about each of these. So the first thing they look for is your speaking tone. You need to vary it. You can't be monotone, you can't talk like this. You need to vary your speaking tone to show excitement and passion. You need to be great. You need to let the students know that you're happy to be with them. So vary your speaking tone and be really excited and happy. Remember, don't talk like this. Now let's talk about body language. Here you need to physically express your passion in teaching. Don't sit still. Move around, engage yourself. Let the student know you're paying attention to them and you're excited about what they're doing. Nod along with them as they read. Make eye contact. Lean forward when listening and speaking. Just be happy and correctly. Now let's talk about your facial expressions. You need to smile. You need to show emotion. You don't just want to smile like this. That's creepy. Nobody wants to see that. But have a natural smile. Just smile as you talk. Be natural. Show your passion for teaching. Show you're happy with the student and their progress. And move around. Be curious. If you're asking a question, look confused. If you're happy, be happy. If you're teaching a slide about being sad, be sad. Use facial expressions while you teach. Alright, now let's talk about total physical response, or TPR. You need to use physical gestures while teaching, and you need to ensure you use the 3 main gestures. The first one is to point to your mouth while speaking. The second one is to cup your ear while listening. And the third one is to give praise with a thumbs up or a high five. So now let's talk about guidance, or how you're going to guide the students in learning. You need to use at least 2 props. As we said before, make sure they're educational, make sure they're relevant. And we need to engage the student to help them pronounce syllables. So we need some methods for this. We can break the word into syllables. Like, let's say the word's hockey. Ha-key. Break it into syllables for them. And we can stress the N sound too. A lot of times students have problem with the S sound. So they'll say egg instead of eggs. So when we're correcting them, we can say eggs. When we stress that sound, more than likely the student will say eggs. They're not really emphasizing the sound, but they're at least pronouncing it now. And then when they say it like this, we can shorten it. So we say eggs, then eggs. We say it fast. This is a good way to guide the student to pronouncing things correctly. Now let's talk about correction making. We want to ensure the student says the word correctly. We want them to repeat it at least 2 to 3 times correctly, but we want to emphasize the sound the student says wrong during correction. If they're saying ball wrong, maybe it's the L sound at the end. Ooh, ooh. So maybe we want to emphasize it by saying ball. But we don't like dragging here, so we can drag to get them to say that sound correctly, but then we want them to say it naturally afterwards. So start off with ball, get them to say that sound, and then condense it. Ball, ball, ball. A good tip is to say something 3 times fast and have them repeat it. It helps them say the sound correctly and fast. And we want to show enthusiasm and reward them when they do a good job. There's a trophy system. You press a button and they get a trophy. During class, each student should get about 8 trophies. Alright, so I've told you what to expect to be graded on by the interviewers, and now it's time to teach your lesson. First, I want to give you a classroom function tip. I want to tell you how to make yourself big on the screen and how to make the student big on the screen. So let's look. When you're in the classroom, you're going to see a button with 3 people. When you click it, it makes you big. You're big, and then you can drag the student's picture up to make him big. Click it again, and you're both back to normal size. The first slide is the introduction slide. This is where we greet the student. So we're going to click the button with 3 people. We're going to make ourselves big, like I just showed you. Then we're going to drag the student up. And we're going to say hello. Remember, smile. Hello, my name is Teacher Rich. What's your name? Hi, Jerry. It's nice to meet you. How are you today? Awesome. How old are you, Jerry? Great! Jerry, can you give a high five? Alright, now give the student a trophy to reward him for such a great introduction, and then use some transitional language into the next slide. So let's say, let's watch a video! Alright, so slide 2 isn't going to be used in your interview lesson. It's a video to help you prepare for the interview. So we're going to skip this one and move on to the video. So slide 3 is a music video. We don't have to sing along, but we want to lip sync, maybe use some props, and just look like we're having a great time. And then after the video, don't forget your transitional phrasing and say something like, "That was fun, let's see what's next." So the next slide is a brief introduction slide for the student. The student doesn't have to repeat the title, but we're going to say it, we're going to use some props, and we're going to have fun. So we can say, I like bananas! I like bananas! And then after you're done, use some transitional phrasing to go to the next slide. Let's try it! So the purpose of the next slide is to get the student to say banana properly. We're going to use some TPR skills, we're going to use some props, and we're going to use some guidance here. So we want to emphasize the N sound when we're guiding the child to say the word. So we'll do something like banana, banana, banana. If the student said the word properly all 3 times, you can move on. If they messed up at a part, we want to isolate the part they didn't get correctly and try to get them to say it properly. Try at least 3 to 5 times to get the student to say it properly, and then congratulate them afterwards. Say, great job, give a thumbs up, give a high five, and then give them a trophy, and then use transitional phrasing to move on to the next slide. So the next slide is big N and little n. Our goal here is to get the student to say N, and then big N, and then little n. Here we're going to use some more TPR and guidance skills, and if you have props such as flashcards, they're great to use here too. So what I like to do at first is to click the button with 3 people, bring yourself up big, and bring the student up big, and practice saying N. So N, 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 at least 3 times if you're saying it right. And maybe if you have a prop here, a flashcard, you can show them the N. And then click the button with 3 people again and make yourself small and the student small, and then circle the big N and say big N. Listen, maybe use some TPR to show big, big N, big N. Get the student to say big N, try at least 3 times, and then circle the little n and say little n. Do some TPR to show little n. And then when they say it correctly, just go back one more time. Big N, little n. Big N, little n. Congratulate them with the trophy, high five, thumbs up, and use some transitional phrasing to the next slide. Let's see what's next. Okay, so for the next slide, we're going to click the button with 3 people to make ourselves big on the screen. Then we're going to drag the student up to make them big, and we're going to get them to say banana. They should say it perfectly because we've already modeled it and had them say it perfectly a couple slides before. But we're going to use props, we're going to use TPR, and we're going to get them to say it again 3 times. Banana. 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 Great job! High five! Yeah! Give them a trophy, make yourself small, and click to the next slide. So the goal of the next slide is to get the student to say, I like bananas. The entire phrase might be a little bit difficult for the student to say all at once, so we want to break it apart into chunks. So maybe circle I first and say, I. Great, good job. Then circle like. Like. Great job. Then circle bananas. Bananas. Awesome. And then circle I like. I like. Great, awesome. And then circle all 3. I like bananas. I like bananas. I like bananas. Get the student to say it 3 times, congratulate them, give them a trophy, use transitional phrasing to go to the next slide. Great job! Let's see what's next. So the purpose of slide 9 is to get the student to say hand. We already have the perfect prop here, so let's circle the word hand on the screen and say hand. Hand. Alright, then we're gonna model it again, but we're going to circle the N and say hand. Then cup our ear, hand, cup our ear, hand, cup our ear. And if the student gets it great, Awesome, congratulate them, give them a trophy, use transitional phrasing, and move on to the next slide. If they didn't get it right, just keep practicing with the student 3 to 5 times to make sure they get it right. So the next slide is a fun slide. It's a great slide to show your passion and enthusiasm for teaching. The goal of this slide is to get the student to say banana while clapping their hands. We see clap your hands on top of the slide. The student doesn't have to repeat this, but we want to model it. So let's say hands, clap, clap your hands, and get the student to clap their hands. And then after this, let's say ba-na-na. Get the student to repeat banana. Then ba-na-na, banana, banana, and just speed it up and have fun with the student. Congratulate them, give them a trophy, use transitional phrasing, and go to the next slide. Alright, so the next slide is the touch game. Here our goal is to get the student to point and say I. So we can say I, I, I. Get them to point to the eye, congratulate them, then move on. Nose, nose, nose. Great job! High five! Congratulate them, move on. Ear, ear, ear. Great! So try 3 to 5 times again to get them to say and point to their body part, and because the next slide is a game that's pivotal for them to understand their nose, eyes, and ears. The next slide is a fun little game in which we turn a card by clicking on it and a word comes up that's a body part that we learned in the previous slide. Our goal is to have the student say the body part that's on the card. So when we flip the card, if it's nose, we point to nose and say nose. Cup our ear to get the student to say it. And so forth with eyes and ears. And we just have fun. We show a lot of enthusiasm and passion and congratulate the student for a job well done. This is a fun slide. Have fun with your student. Show the interviewer you like to have fun and you love teaching and you have a passion for it. That's the purpose here. We've done it. We made it to the final slide. Your interviewer may stop you here, but if there's some extra time left, you can give a proper goodbye. Click the button with 3 people, make yourself big, drag the student up, and say goodbye. Goodbye, Jerry. It was nice to meet you. I hope I get to see you again. Bye, Jerry. See you next time. Click the button with 3 people again, make yourself small, and that's it. Now, if you followed every tip I've given you, I'm sure you're going to pass. And I can't wait to see you on the Magic Years team. If you're thinking about applying, please use my referral link in the description below. And don't forget to like this video and to subscribe to my channel for more news and info in the online ESL world. Bye everybody!